Question is that the bill be now read a second time. Mr. Patrick Tay.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise in support of this bill which amends the Postal Services Act. The amendments are a timely response to the evolving postal landscape due to growth in e-commerce deliveries and accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. During the circuit breaker period last year, there was a sharp decline in face-to-face social interactions. As a result, many had resorted to purchasing parcels and gifts online to be couriered to friends and/or extended family as a means of keeping in touch with them. We also witnessed an increase in purchases made through e-commerce platforms from work-from-home equipment such as monitors, desks, chairs, etc., and also essential items in groceries for household needs and use. If not for the instrumental role that the postman and last-mile delivery personnel played then and continue to play today, we would not have been able to receive our purchases and our parcels from our friends and loved ones in a timely fashion. However, as circuit breaker measures were lifted and people started commuting more, there was a corresponding increase in failed doorstep deliveries. This has practical implications for the postal and logistics service providers as repeated deliveries have to be made, which is a drain on both time and resources. For recipients of the parcels, they would be inconvenienced if they needed the items urgently. On my end, I also face an issue for such deliveries. Just last month, my family had purchased a product from an online seller which cost less than $50. It was for an urgent use, and we even paid for a special delivery package by SingPost for the item to be delivered to my home. On the day of expected shipment, even though the parcel was tagged and traced as delivered, and I received a notification of delivery, we eventually did not receive the item from SingPost. We contacted the seller, and he said that he checked, and SingPost said they had delivered the item. I then had to contact SingPost to inform them that we did not receive the items and that it was for urgent use. The investigation took more than 3 days, and we had to go ahead to make a repurchase due to the urgency. On the 4th day, we were told by SingPost that their postman had mailed the product to the wrong address. There was little recourse for me as the seller who had paid SingPost to carry out the delivery was supposed to be the correct party to file the complaint and/or claim with SingPost, even though I had already paid the seller for a product. Legally, I needed to file a claim with the seller, who in turn needed to counterclaim with SingPost for the negligent act. The multiple parties and various payments involved in this transaction made the recovery of that product or any ensuing claims a cumbersome exercise. I did not pursue the matter, and I just had to settle with 2 sets of the same product. I believe I'm not the only one faced with such a problem. Some online platforms do a better job by not releasing funds to the seller until the buyer receives the item. Such is the nature and challenge for e-commerce and online purchases. A serious situation of caveat emptor. Perhaps the Postal Authority should relook at such scenarios and establish better mechanisms for dispute resolution or mandate the way transactions are carried out so that the buyers and consumers are not left with little or time-consuming recourse, as many of these items may be of small or lower value purchases. It is against this backdrop that I applaud this bill, which seeks to expand the scope of IMDA's exclusive privilege to include the installation and ownership of the public parcel locker network, hereinafter referred to as the network. There will also be powers for IMDA to appoint an operator for the installation, operation, and maintenance of the network. I understand that the network will be implemented in certain areas, namely HDB estates, bus interchanges, train stations, and/or community clubs operated by the People's Association. With the network, postmen and delivery persons will deposit the parcels directly at the network for residents' collection at their convenience. The network will cater to the growing demand of e-commerce purchases while simultaneously alleviating the problem of failed doorstep deliveries. While the bill is no doubt commendable, I have some queries for the Minister which may be broadly categorized in the following areas. 1. Security issues associated with the network. 2. Convenience and/or public policy matters. And 3. Employment issues arising from the development of the network. First, security issues. From a security perspective, how would the network be implemented? Will the Minister be able to share some of the technological safeguards in place to ensure that the puzzle is not tampered with, given that multiple service providers have access to the same puzzle box? Perhaps we could consider the installation of additional CCTVs. These are security issues which are less prevalent in the context of traditional letterboxes, where postmen simply slot letters into the letterboxes and only residents who have the keys to their letterboxes can collect the said letters. Additionally, in cases of pilfering, be it by delivery personnel, pranksters, and/or others who have access to the puzzle boxes, who shall be liable for such losses, and what recourse do the rightful owners have? Further, we also note that certain prescribed classes of puzzles will be prohibited from being placed in the network for safety reasons. While there are powers conferred upon the network operator, the police and IMDA to search, open, and seize such puzzles, however, how shall this be monitored and/or enforced practically, given that most of the puzzles are usually packaged before being delivered? We need to ensure the safety of our postmen, last-mile delivery personnel, and residents who deliver and collect such puzzles. Second, convenience and/or public policy matters. Next, the network is presently to be established at HDB estates and/or public areas. While residents living in HDB estates will no doubt stand to benefit from this initiative, are there plans to extend the same to those living in private estates and condominiums? Some private estates and condominiums are within proximity to HDB housing estates, and some may be keen to have these puzzle boxes in their own precincts. Additionally, how will MCI and IMDA provide the necessary support to residents, in particular senior citizens, to facilitate such transition, and especially when the package may be heavy and the intent for home delivery is to minimize the challenges of carrying a heavy load? Third, employment issues arising from the development of the network. Finally, from an employment perspective, while I'm confident that the network will make the jobs of our postmen and last-mile delivery personnel less strenuous due to failed and repeated deliveries, it will also bring about a fresh set of challenges for our postmen and delivery personnel, such as adapting to technological advancements such as enhanced tracking, electronic signatures, etc., and picking up new skill sets to multitask and multi-skill. I'm also particularly concerned about the wages, welfare, and work prospects of these postal and delivery personnel. In particular, the overall attractiveness of this sector, which continues to play a crucial role as we navigate the pandemic, thrive in the next normal of a low-touch economy, and grapple with an aging population. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage employers to take a keen interest in the upskilling and retraining of workers, and to transform and strengthen the image and professionalism of this industry, as well as for our workers to continue to stay able, agile, and adaptable, even as Singapore forges ahead with digital transformation. On NTUC's end, we are committed to working in companies through the development of company training committees to ensure that our postmen and last-mile delivery driver workers are adequately trained to perform their delivery roles once the network is established. I submit that regulators and employers of these postal and last-mile delivery workers to raise their wages, welfare, and work prospects, as they are essential workers in the next normal of a low-touch digitalized economy. Sir, clarifications notwithstanding, I stand in support of this bill.